Welcome to the program Gender and Parliament, and today we will be discussing special seats for women. And with me to discuss this very important topic is Barrister Gladys Emmanuel, human rights lawyer, gender advocate, currently serves at Tabitha Empowerment Center, a woman-led NGO. Well, we will watch her resume now before we start the program, and we will pay some bills.
Barrister Gladys Rebecca Emmanuel, born in Abia State, Nigeria, is an award-winning lawyer, a dynamic human rights lawyer with over 8 years of experience. She's a graduate of LLM Human Rights Law from Cardiff University, UK, BL Nigerian Law School, Kano campus, and LLB University of Jos, Nigeria. She's currently the advocacy officer and in-house lawyer at Tabitha Empowerment Center.
This morning, I got up with a scent of a woman. Just picture it.
Welcome back to the program. As I said earlier, we have Barrister Gladys Emmanuel on the show, and we will be discussing special seats for women. What do you really understand by special seats for women?
So to respond to your question, it's very important that we break down the stake that women have in the country. Women make up about 50% of the population in Nigeria. And when we're talking of special seats, it is not a compensation. It is not tokenism. It's not something you give as a reward. It is something that is needed for a balanced society. Now, if we look at the country historically, women have been grossly underrepresented in areas of leadership and the political terrain as a whole. So when we're looking at special seats, it is calling for reserving certain seats, one at the Senate, one at each House of Representatives in all the states in the Federation, towards ensuring that women have a stake when it comes to policy making or lawmaking process in the country. So of course there will still be that competition in the sense that they will have to be part of a political party, they would have to go through the process, but again we want more representation. If we look at the political terrain in the country at the moment, the National Assembly, we have less than 5% of Nigerian women occupying positions. That means that the voices of women would not be heard at all. It means that women will not be able to contribute effectively to things like policing. It means that women will not be able to have a stake or a say in the political terrain of the country. Women are also grossly disenfranchised. We look at things like discriminatory party practices. We look at things like the financing aspect of it, even violence. These are some of the things that challenge women's ability to venture into the political terrain. So with the special seats, we are looking at giving women better platforms to be able to express their views. For those who want to vie for these positions, better platforms to be able to vie for these positions, and the likelihood of Nigeria hitting its 35% affirmative action promise as stated in the National Gender Policy of 2006.
Okay. What are some of the common criticisms of special seats for women?
For some persons, they say it's a form of compensation. For some, they say it's going to bring about second tiers of legislators. But all of these concerns are unfounded because right now we are at a very critical stage in the country where we have less than 3% women represented. It can't get worse than what we have already. So perhaps we should turn our gaze towards dismantling all of the structural barriers. We should look at ways of having more women being more involved in the policing of the country.
How will this special seats help in women advocacy, gender inequality, and all that?
So, like I mentioned, when we're looking at women's involvement, every society has male and female. And for you to have a balanced lawmaking process or policy process, you need to have the male and the female represented. So if we look at countries like Rwanda, countries like Senegal, they've adopted similar strategies of having special seats. And we see that more attention is given to certain areas such as education, areas such as social protection, areas such as even rights, even the healthcare system. So when you have women on board, it becomes a formidable force. It's going to help a great deal in advocacy. You have some of the needs of the women being amplified. At the moment, women have very little chances of getting involved in the policy process. If there's a bill that is passed, we have to most definitely go through a male lawmaker. If there is a need, we have to go through most of the committees, or we see most of the positions are being headed by men. So we have very little women representation. But if we have women being represented or women there, one thing it will also do is it would encourage the next generation of women, young girls who want to vie for these positions. They now see it as something that is achievable, something that they can do, something that is not out of their reach. It will also help to bring about a transformational shift, which is what we require right now in our country. We need to get to that point where we say, you know what? Women have a stake at tables of power. Women have a stake at tables of decision-making processes. And for us to have a balanced and equal or even society, we need to have both the voices of the men and the women being represented evenly.
So what do you think we should do to make them understand that this seat is very important?
So everything rises and falls with enlightenment. In the absence of knowledge, abuse is inevitable, and the same is going to apply to the special seats if there is no proper enlightenment. So one thing we can do is to enlighten the women. We need to bring them up to speed to the point where they appreciate their involvement. There is a need for them to be involved in leadership. Leadership or decision-making processes is not for the male folks alone. Now, I would deviate a bit. I work with communities. And one thing you notice at community levels is you have very minimal women representation, even in the cabinet. Sometimes you might have 20 men and just 2 women represented. So what does that tell you? It means that they don't really appreciate what leadership is. So for us to be able to get this done and perfect it, we need to enlighten the women. We need to make them understand that, you see, leadership, it's not for aliens. It's not for men alone. It's also for you, and you're as good enough as any other person who will vie for this position. Another thing people worry about, or most women worry about, is the funding aspect. The political terrain doesn't come cheap. It requires funding. So one thing we might want to look at is things around public financing and incentives. So that includes even things with regards to down to the party level. Some of those processes, the campaign level, funding is required to be able to undertake all of this. Then mentorship is also important. If you go ahead to sensitize but you do not mentor the right way, people might not really appreciate the entire process. So it's very important for us to undertake mentorship, but strategic mentorship that is looking extensively as political terrain, not just any type of mentorship. How do they start off the process? How do they become consistent? How do they become better leaders? How do they listen to the people? How do they transfer what they've heard from the people and make it something tangible that is workable? So these are some of the things. Then also we need to look around policies too. Without policies, of course, whatever we're doing or whatever we're talking about would not hold so much water. So things like proper enforcement of our electoral laws is very important in the political terrain. If we look at even the Beijing Declaration, which is what has given birth to all of this advocacy we are doing, it still talks about elimination of discrimination and women's involvement in leadership. So all of these are vital towards ensuring that we have more women present in leadership processes.
Okay, the program is Gender and Parliament. We will take a short break and we will be back shortly. Okay, welcome back from the break, and the program is Gender Empowerment, and I've been talking to Barrister Gladys Emmanuel. Why do women don't support themselves? Why do we like to criticize ourselves?
So we've heard a lot of times women not supporting women. Now, while it's partially correct, it's also not entirely correct, and I would answer both fronts. We have women in the corporate space or professional spaces that go ahead to mentor the next generation. That is their own way of support. We have women's rights organizations that are striving day and night to amplify, advance, promote the rights of women. That is women supporting women. Now, the flip side of what we have, women not supporting women, it comes from a standpoint of not really appreciating the power that women carry in togetherness, or the collective nature that women have and the kind of power that we wield. Women are very powerful. That is why we see when people are coming to campaign, they ask, who is the women leader for this community? They understand the power that we carry, but we ourselves, unfortunately, not many of us really appreciate that power and the qualities that we carry. But again, some of these things stem from a standpoint of not understanding or not knowing what exactly to do with a woman who is in power. There are some people who get a bit intimidated by a woman in power. For them, I am unable to accomplish this, but someone is bold enough to dare the odds and go ahead. So instead of supporting them, because I feel this is not for women, this is supposed to be a male-only dominated area, the best they can do is to antagonize. That antagonism is their own way of reacting to the courage or boldness that this person exudes. Now, deep down, most of them actually admire you greatly. They admire what you're doing, but then, like I mentioned, the lack of knowledge is also a problem. So, in addition to enlightenment, plus we talk about socialization. It also stems from socialization. We grew up to knowing that spaces of decision making are supposed to be heavily constituted by male folks. So if a woman wants to break through, she's deemed to be a rebel. And what do you do to rebels? You antagonize rebels. That is what they feel. So we have women who are supporting women. I am currently undertaking a program, a fellowship, a leadership fellowship. It's run by a woman. Participants are from more than 10 countries. And a woman takes her time this is the 6th month. We'll be wrapping up in December. So it's a 1-year program. And a woman is taking her time to give her all, to give her funding, to give everything to ensure that we become world-class leaders. I don't know what other support can be better. We have women's rights organizations going down to grassroots communities to help, to empower women. That is women supporting women. We're talking about special seats. We have some women who have been at the National Assembly for weeks now, trying to ensure that this is the light of day. That is women supporting women. Now, the other side of the coin might be women who don't understand what we are bringing to society. But over time, they would appreciate it. They would understand it when they start to see the gradual changes and the benefits that come with all of this. So yes, it's not going to happen automatically. The changes that require is not going to happen automatically. We're not going to see all women gravitating towards a female candidate who wants to contest for maybe presidency or the governorship position. But one thing I know is it would happen. It might not be today, it might not be this year, but it will definitely happen if we are consistent and persistent.
Strategies do you think can be put in place to make it a reality?
There are lots of strategies. There's enforcement of the laws. I can't hammer on that enough. We need to enforce those laws, those electoral laws. We need to bring them to life so that everyone can benefit from it. We hear of women who have tried to campaign or who have tried to vie for certain positions, not only within the National Assembly. Now, they tell you sometimes meetings are scheduled at very wee hours in the morning, and because I'm married, I'm unable to attend those meetings. So we need to ensure that there is an even and level playing field for everybody. We need to understand that okay, we should carry everybody along. So it starts from even the party, the political party acceptance in itself, then also the campaign processes, and of course, every other thing that is needed. Then we look at things like civic engagement and voters' education. It's very important. The last elections that held, I could hear some people whispering behind me, I won't vote for a woman, I prefer a man, I prefer. If you ask them why the preference, to be honest, they have no tangible answer to give you. They just feel like a woman, why should you be contesting? I mean, there are other things you could do, but definitely not the political terrain. Some will tell you women are not strong enough. Some will tell you women don't understand the way the political games are played. But the truth of the matter is, women are very strong mobilizers. During campaigns, you see it's the women that gather the crowd. They tell you once you're able to win the women, you have won. So women are able to gather the crowd, they're able to pull them, but they're able to convince anybody. Women are very persuasive and very assertive when we want to be. We want something, we'll go for it. So there's a need for civic engagement and also voters' education. Make them understand that whether male or female, what we should be looking at is the quality of the person. We should be looking at the skills the person has that they want to pour into society, and not the fact that whether the person is male or female. Then we should look at things around funding. It's very important. Funding is one of the challenges that women face, and that is why they are unable to participate. So funding may be assisting with campaigning or reducing the cost of some of these things. That way everyone is able to participate. I think these are some of the things. Then also more advocacy is very important. More advocacy is very important to ensure that people appreciate the political terrain and they see it that it's both possible for male and female to assume positions.
Okay, so what is
So a woman leader is going to be very instrumental, because myself, yourself, we are able to have access to TVs. We have access to mobile phones. We know there's something called special seats. It's a hot topic right now in the country. Our mamas at the grassroots, they don't know that at all. They are not able to appreciate. For them, is what are they talking about? Okay, it doesn't concern me. But we need to make them know that this is for the good of both this generation and even the next. I understand that the special seat is not a permanent thing. It's a temporary measure, meaning that after 4 electoral cycles, that's about roughly 16 years, it will gradually phase out. By then, hopefully, we'll be able to have parity institutionalized in the country. So one thing that women leaders can do is they can help to cascade this message, break it down, whether in their local dialects, and make the women understand that, see, this that is happening, it's not just the business of those in Maitama and Asokoro. It's the business of even us. Even as we're tilling the soil, we can be communicating with our other women and let them know that, see, there's something happening now. Me and you now have a higher or a better stake to be able to even vie for positions. We shouldn't see it as off our limits. We should see it that this is a great opportunity. And even if we might not be able to, the next generation, our daughters who are interested in leadership, will be able to also vie for those positions.
Okay, final words before we round up.
So one thing is, when we talk about quota does not in any way erode quality. So we're calling for special seats. It doesn't entirely mean that it should be a compensation given to women. No, we are looking more at better platforms that women will be able to compete evenly and of course get into those positions if they have what it takes to ensure that the country is better for all.
Okay, any takeaways?
From the entire process, it has shown me that women are united on all fronts. It has shown me that regardless of your background, your educational qualification, we speak one voice. I'm speaking now to the media. Some other women are speaking with legislators. Some others are holding meetings. Some others are calling for other stakeholders to have the same deliberation for a single cause, which is special seats. So it means that women are actually formidable. We have a formidable force. We can use that for the good of the community. And of course, we should start to work gradually towards eroding that mindset of women do not support women. We should try to lift the other person off. If one lifts the other, before you know, we're all standing and we're doing better.
Okay, take away from what you said. we should all help each other as women.
Definitely.
We should all give a helping hand to each other
Definitely.
as women. And I hope that out there understood the topic we discussed today, special seats for women. Go out there, contribute your own little quarter, and of course, be a good and humble Nigerian woman. See you next week. The program is Gender and Parliament. Thank you for watching.